Cochran,
Here.
Hoganson,
Here.
Knapp Schneider, Metz,
Here.
Neal,
Present.
Mahoka,
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Next item is approval of the agenda. Do I hear any changes, additions, deletions? Hearing none, approved. Approval of the minutes of July 10. Any corrections, additions, deletions?
Move to accept the minutes from July 10th.
Neil, second. You get a chance to get through?
Yeah, and they look great.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. Jules, do you have any communications?
Nope.
from anyone? Okay, item 6, committee reports. I wanted to give you an update from the Public Outreach Committee, which is Mr. Paholka, Ms. Hoganson, and myself. We met on July 30th, and just to just hit some of the highlights, let you know where we're at with things. First of all, Ann and I met with Tim Moslener, and now we have our own website on the city site. It is under government, and then go to boards and commissions, and it is the fourth link down. You will notice, and I think we're talking with Tim about having our own web address, possibly. So we're working on that. Tim also offered on the left-hand side of the screen, you see added links. He took off anything that was extraneous, and he said he could customize this to what the kind of links that we need. So we have the agendas, minutes, and the video. Make sure that people have an opportunity to see our YouTubes if they want to. The boards and commissions is just that list. The city charter, which is yet another place for people now to find the charter on the website. There are about 3 or 4 different locations now where people can access the charter, which is really good. Once we get it up, we are going to be talking about that later this evening as well. We are looking to get a survey out to the public. Once we have that developed, we will put a link on the website. And I believe this QR code is going to help bring people to that survey. Ann has graciously offered, what we wanted was to talk later this evening, it's a little farther down our agenda, get some input from you folks on what topics you think we ought to get public input about. And some of this will depend on where we go with some of the items we're talking about tonight. For example, do we want to pursue the separation of terms issue, which was 5.5C? But once we have your input and we've had kind of a more comprehensive discussion about that, Anne's going to take that information and build a survey for us, which we will then bring back to you to review before we send it out at our September 11th meeting. So we are looking to try and start pushing this out late September, early October. And we put in place kind of a strategy of advertising to let people know that a survey is coming. And we're talking about having a piece in the Pioneer. I've already got time booked on Carlene Rose's radio show. I have heard back, we are, and Ann, if you want to come with me, we are on the schedule for Rotary for September 24th, Tuesday, September 24th, I think is the date, at noon, and I will get you the particulars. I have also reached out to the woman who is the president of GFWC. Her name is Sue Johnson. I'm waiting to hear back from her to see if we can get on to just describe to them what we're doing and help people be aware that the survey is out there and here's where you can find it. And if possible, we would like to try and drive as many people to the website because our technological tools will enable us to collate and analyze that data. I think it says there will be a possibility of pulling some of that out for charts and graphs and such. So all kinds of exciting possibilities.
If you want, I have contacts at Big Rapids Radio Network and Big Rapids Daily News to get the word out on that. For radio and for website.
That would be great. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that.
One thing, Jennifer.
Yeah.
I'm here looking on this, I see city charter, which is good, but I'm thinking on this page here, should we have another item on there that says city charter in progress, like the working?
That's what I would like to see on it.
Oh,
To have
you know what I mean?
everything that Stacy's doing and put it all up.
Yes, the city charter is fine, but the work in progress,
These are
That's a great idea.
I don't know how to word that, so they know the difference between it.
But we can just say, revision in progress, revisions in progress, link, and just have it right
Yes,
below the
yes.
actual.
Because I don't want them to click on that and think, "Well, what are they doing, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's, because now I think we've got enough to where we could just, but that would have to change every month. Because we're, and then we would just, every month, just put on the new one after, yeah.
I don't know if you want to try and do it this way. The previous commission did, like they had everything they visited was in blue and anything they changed was in red, or a different color.
We have it up there in the thing now, it's just scratched out, isn't it?
I think it's just red. Some of the stuff's in purple.
There's color
Yeah,
indicators.
there's some color, there's some strikeouts, but if someone's not accustomed to looking at like a revised Word document, they're not gonna know what they're looking at. It's gonna look like a mess.
Okay. That's a wonderful idea. That's what we want.
I think we're
people
ready to
see.
do that.
Yeah. One thing we haven't finished or talked about too completely yet, and that is anything in terms of interaction with the public on the website, how to enable them to offer comments, kind of control to the extent possible for safety and privacy and bombing and such, whatever goes on. But we are continuing to work with Tim.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and set up a meeting with them. See what they do.
I would think like people being able to email us
Yeah, working on it.
either way. Like you don't
separate-
want people to, like you don't want a public comment section that you have to police, right? And we don't want to give like our personal email addresses, but it could be like email the Charter Revision Commission at CRC.
Tim can make one of those up.
Yeah, something like that.
Good.
He talked to us about doing
Yeah.
that very thing.
Because he does a lot of that with clerk at, blah, blah, voting at.
Would that be
I really don't think we're
something
gonna get that
somebody manned then, or
So
would we
where,
go over it in
we
our
just need to know
meetings?
where it's gonna go, who actually is
Yeah.
gonna, this is gonna link to, whether it be Jennifer or you or who is it going to link to.
The important thing that he stressed to us is that we need to keep him updated on whatever it is that we want changed. Changing it is, he can do that. As long as we give him up-to-date information.
And that's for the webpage. Do we want to do something like a Facebook page or Instagram page, just to put information out that people can, another option to people to go and see what we're doing?
I think Foster's point is good. If we put it on social media, there's gonna be comments that we don't have control over. Are we okay with that?
We could make it so no comments.
Yep.
Our city attorney, we have no comments.
We have to turn them off. And that would be my recommendation,
do
would be that we do it through the city page because it's got a bigger built-in
That's what I would think too.
volume of followers than a new entity of its,
be
in
no
and of
comments.
itself.
One thing that came up though in our meeting was whether we could just, on our personal Facebook pages, put a link to the survey on this site.
I don't think that would be a problem.
And
We should,
Steve's still here?
Yeah.
Do you know if there's any problem with that? If I wanted to put on my Facebook page, if you're interested in participating in the survey, here's the link and it directs them here.
Yeah, that's fine.
So there shouldn't be any
Yeah,
problem.
there shouldn't be any problem with that, yeah. Should be fine with that.
So,
Okay, so do we wanna make a decision on who, because if I go to Tim tomorrow and say, can you create this email address, charterrevision@cityofbr.org, who are we linking it to?
Want to keep it as our committee, outreach committee, or you or somebody else want to step forward and?
Because we're gonna have to give them that too. Who's it going to?
probably just our outreach committee.
I
The three of
we
us.
can independently field them. If it's a tricky one, we can
I
put
think you
our
only
heads
can have one email. I'm not sure you can have
Yeah.
several.
That'll probably come to me.
I think that makes the most sense.
And if you,
You're on the outreach committee and you're the chair.
You're the boss lady.
what you could
I
do,
mean-
Jennifer, is forward them to us if you're
Sure.
getting hit up with a lot of redundant questions.
I really don't think we're gonna get that many emails,
Right.
I hope we do.
but it'd be nice to get.
That'd be nice.
I'm gonna
get
be
some.
out there telling people to email us.
I can set this up tomorrow,
Yeah.
as long as I know what direction I'm going.
Now, I have a question, because I am not familiar with how QR things work.
Oh, I
Does
just did it. It works.
Does this, what email does this go to?
It doesn't go to an
It
email.
goes to the web,
webpage.
it goes to the webs, it goes to the
city
page we just
website?
had up.
It goes to the
Yeah, you wanna
RCIC
see?
page.
So you go to your camera
All I gotta do is take
and you
pictures.
just click right here. Like it
Uh-huh.
pops up and it takes us right there.
It says on here that we already have an
So
email.
you don't actually, you point
That's
your camera at this,
Just a, yeah, stand in, just hold the
Yep, just your
placeholder.
camera.
and you don't have to click a picture, right? You just point your camera at it.
It will populate like a
Right,
box with a.
your camera knows what to do with it.
I'm glad the camera knows what to do with it.
See how it frames it, and then that's what you tap.
Oh, okay.
That's the page it takes you to.
Okay, so back to Zena, I see he's got charter, it's his, do you want charter or just charter revision?
I'd just go with charter, shorter the better.
Or CRC. Even shorter.
You guys wanna do?
I have no opinion.
I would go CRC.
I'll go CRC.
There's charter communications,
Right, right.
branded as Spectrum, but it's like, or whatever, it's too complicated.
Yeah, I sent him my
Remember
hospital
that
name.
Yeah, and it's like,
I did.
I think
That's what I call it.
CRC is super short, and there's nothing locally that,
Then I had to lay to my hospital
I
bill.
doubt it. I don't know that people are gonna know what that means,
I
but
don't know that it matters that they know.
Well, I
what
don't
it
know,
means.
like, they're gonna find it somewhere.
Okay.
They're not gonna think to email charter@cityofpr.org either. So.
okay, so it's crc@citybr.org.
That sounds awesome.
It's going to Jennifer. Okay, got it.
Alrighty then. Last but not least, also as part of our information campaign, we have been investigating different printers to make up bookmarks for us to hand out that have just some basic information, I've got the city seal, which looks nice. Some basic information about the charter, what it is. This is kind of like our little 30-second elevator pitch, and the QR code. And as soon as we get those made up, we're gonna be spreading them far and wide. And I've already checked with the library, they said, feel free to leave a bunch there. And farmer's market, these groups that we're visiting, every one of us can take a bunch. And, as you see people, please, feel free to hand them out. Excuse me.
So what you have on here, is that what this is gonna look like?
Similar, we gotta,
Because I'm actually looking at, you can reach us at official Big Rapids website, which
yeah,
is
that's all,
jumbo. Okay, 'cause
it's all
that's,
just placeholder stuff.
okay, 'cause that's,
Same thing with the follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If
Okay.
you don't wanna do that, we can scratch it out.
okay, so those would need to be revised.
So we're taking that out.
Yeah.
And
You can say email us at, now the crc@cityofbr.org, as soon as I get in touch with him.
So, yeah, once we have it and it's official, will you let me know, please?
Yes, I sure will.
go ahead, Foster.
Do you need help cutting the white away from the edges?
No, I gotta get this is just something I grabbed off the.
Okay, that's like, I figured that was not that hard.
I'll get
but
the official
So-
logo and,
we don't need the white square around it, but I also think there needs to be like a really, really short, big, bold, like catch, something to grab people, a hook, right? Like this is too much text, it's too boring for people to get engaged. It needs to be like our local constitution, exclamation point. Like something that grabs people and makes them wanna read far enough to actually do the QR code. That's my opinion.
I don't know, I randomly click QR codes no matter where they are. For real. Wanna
It's
see where they go.
it's so hard to make this work sexy.
Yeah, that might be task impossible.
But like,
Yeah, that's,
Maybe mission impossible, exclamation point.
Well, you can do a more generic call to action, like make your voice heard. And that's kind of has universal appeal to everybody, even if it's not specific to this work, that can sort of be your.
just needs something to like kind of push people.
Not gonna let
harder.
you go with, Scott needs something, either you tell us something, or
Well, I mean,
either solve the problem or don't bring up the problem.
well, I would agree with that, because blah, 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 even much as we love our prose. Okay, well, let's think on that. Any ideas?
I think there's some, I think that it would benefit just from having some of the content cut. I don't think you necessarily need to reword, replace it. In November 23, the citizens of Big Rapids approved the formation of the Charter Revision Commission. I'm not sure that we necessarily need that much detail, so you might just be able to draft that back to something like the charter is meant to reflect the values and ethics of the Big Rapids community, which is why we're reaching out.
Take
So
out that first sentence.
if you eliminated that, if you eliminated,
I think that without your input, we won't be able to determine what is important.
I think that kind of duplicates what was just said.
Just be like reduced down to, we need your input.
And the charter must be updated periodically.
That sentence, that whole paragraph section could probably go.
It seems like there might just be, the city charter is a document that functions like the constitution for the city of Big Rapids in line with state laws. It provides a framework for government. And then tacked on to the end of that first paragraph, maybe it's updated periodically to ensure our government can function effectively or something like that. And then,
Or just, we need to revise it
yeah,
to make sure we're meeting your needs.
Oh, I like that.
How about that? I'm borrowing that from her. We need to revise it to make sure we're meeting your needs.
I think we need to revise it to meet your needs. The more words you can cut, the better.
I feel like people with bookmarks read though.
Yeah.
But like, sometimes you can convince somebody to take a bookmark.
Right, but then they're not readers.
But I mean,
I know what you're thinking, but they don't keep those bookmarks either.
yeah,
You know.
I mean, most people that you hand something to don't keep it or read it.
I like a bookmark. I'm taking it.
I got tons of bookmarks.
I lose them all the time.
Okay, so did we, were we gonna keep the first paragraph?
first paragraph, yes, and I would say just add something like we need to revise it.
To meet your needs. What about this last, the charter is also meant to reflect the ethics, we keep.
I would move straight on into that. The charter is meant to reflect the ethics and values of the city or community of Big Rapids, which is why we're reaching out for your inputs, that we can determine what's important to you.
Striking the first 5 lines. Okay.
And also, I think,
The third paragraph on the first side.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
the first line. I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, I get it, yeah. That's all we're getting rid of then, it's just those 5 lines then, right?
Okay.
The third section, yes.
and I think that we're reducing the middle section.
It says the charter must be updated periodically.
Yeah,
Must be.
We're just eliminating that and putting at the end of the first paragraph, we need to revise it regularly.
Is to ensure that. Where you want to go with it, get rid of that, get rid of the, the charter must be revised to ensure that our city,
we just say we need to revise it regularly to meet our needs.
We're gonna keep it in active voice, as opposed to the charter needs to be revised, because it's a we we need to do this, as we the people need to do this. So we need to revise it regularly to meet your needs. Okay?
To meet can we say our needs?
Our need.
Don't make it sound like it's just this group.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want
You can say the communities or something, but
I mean, the community is us. It's not separate from us.
it should be,
Yeah, but there's a chance they might read it the other way, I think.
I can see what you're saying.
Like,
when I write minutes, it's never I, we, our, it's there.
you just clarify by eliminating the pronoun and make it, the community's needs. It's clear to everybody.
Big Rapids needs,
Yeah.
to meet Big Rapids needs would be really good, I think.
That's an S apostrophe.
That's right.
You can smack me now. Great. What do we think about color?
I like it. I think it's.
I like the
The
color.
blue?
It looks, it looks consistent with the city. It feels like the city.
I think there might not be enough contrast for some people though.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
From the print,
Go lighter blue.
go lighter blue?
I would probably go a lighter blue, or you might have to choose like a font and do like a black font with a white outline or something, so that way it really like pops.
Okay.
But I'd definitely play around with that
Maybe just start with a lighter blue.
and go from there.
I can see that because some of the folks we may be reaching with this, we might not be reaching through digital channels.
Be a bigger font if we're
Tend to
cutting
be
out some of
people
the
who
verbiage.
have
Consistent
more eye
from one
strain.
side
That's what
to
I'm
the other.
thinking. Like, if we can reduce the text enough that the font can go up to like, this looks like 12 point to me.
It's a 10 point on here.
Yeah, 10 is too small for older
14,
eyes.
16 is usually what I would print on the Michigan Poet. Because I would expect people to be like looking at it from farther away, but also
Yeah.
just people might not be able to read that well. So, I mean,
We should be able to do that since we're doing
Yeah.
double-sided and we've eliminated a lot of text and very good points taken.
I mean, I think even, the top paragraph on the left might really be like the last thing that we want people to read. That could be a smaller or the same size text, while other texts could be larger, right? Like, you want people to see a hook, and if they stay engaged, then they're gonna read the smaller text, right? So it could just be that things like, email us, we want that 14 to 16. Like, we need your input, that's 16 to 18 point. Paragraph that's like more dense and harder to get through, that can probably stay at 10 or just go up to 12.
You might want to take a look at the actual font that's used as well. I know some are considered more readable than others. I don't know what one's off the top of my head, but a quick Google search should be able to show you
Typically,
that.
I think people prefer, trying to remember what it is, I'm running
Sans serif fonts are better than serif fonts.
I think especially if you have, it's not black on white. Like if it's white on black, then you would want a sans serif. And if it's white on black text on white page, you can get away with a serif. I don't know that the font matters much, other than just not having a serif.
It needs to be clear, clear and readable.
Choosing the right font size, and making sure there's enough difference between the text and the background should help. Because you've got,
Readability factor.
I mean, the font does matter, but like, it's not, like, so long as it's not Comic Sans.
Come on.
Nope.
We always use an Arial.
Yeah, Arial is good, like any of the classics, Arial, like Garamond, Helvetica, like Times, anything that's like your standard.
Do you think, does it make sense to like put at the top of this in bigger black letters, what is the charter? What is the charter?
I think once
A
we
lot
get
of
the
people ask me that, what is the charter?
and actually like title each section in a way that leads the person to understand what they're about to read. So what is the charter? We need your input. Get in touch with us or take our survey or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
so
only, I'm sorry.
I think that on the left side where it says Big Rapids Charter, charter revision at the top, that could be replaced with what is the charter? Right? And I actually think that I'm not sure which is intended, I think the right side is the side that I would face up, and the left side is the side that I would face down.
You realize that if you got a two-dimensional object or three-dimensional, if you do that, that's up and that's down?
Yeah, but when you have a stack of things that you put on a counter, one side is gonna be up, and one side's gonna be down. So I would,
If I'm in charge, I'm gonna have half up, half down.
okay. I mean, it's like the way that you present it to people, it's gonna be presented on one side, and if you want the side that's gonna grab people, the side that's facing up, and I would design it to intend on one side up and one side down, it makes a difference. Like, you put the information that's less important and less hooky on the back, and you put the information that makes people wanna pick it up on the front, right? Like, it's not a non-sided object.
Yeah, but if we drop it off at the library, we have no control over it, so
Yes, you
I
do.
don't think it matters.
You absolutely do. You go in with a stack of them and you say, I'd like to leave these, and you put them face up.
This way.
Someone goes
Then when
and
they
dusts
dust,
or something,
they go
it's all
face
over.
They could,
Yeah.
but like,
What size is the QR code going on? The front or the back?
I had it set up for the back, you know, I had left is on front, but it can go either way.
It can go either way.
I mean, I would put it on the front because, like, you want people to, the number one thing is that people click on, like, go to the QR code, right? I mean,
No opinion.
there's a chance that if the QR code was on the front and it's front side up, there's a chance that somebody just scans it with their phone and walks away and they don't even pick it up. If it's on the back, and it's upside down, then people don't have that opportunity.
Brian, would you be able to, can you mock up a revised one based on what we've all talked about, so I can look at, because I'm getting like, this is getting completely jumbled in my brain about front, back, up and down. Not kidding. I have terrible spatial intelligence. So,
Okay,
with the changes that we're suggesting, you can maybe mock up even a couple different
Couple
ones.
different ones, and
Let's see how that looks.
my only suggestion here, and I think we're kind of missing the boat a little bit, is you got Big Rapids USA, you got Big Rapids Charter Revision. In bold, that's what sticks out. We need to make sure people know it's the city charter, not one township, not the other township, because we all have charters. City charter, and that's not what I'm seeing here.
So you could work that into your first,
I mean,
your first headline, what is the city of
The
Big
logo
Rapids
doesn't say
charter?
city, does it?
I could change,
you know, you
Yeah, I
should
think
tell the
that's-
city that they need to add
Well, I
city to the
understand
logo.
But we can add it in our texts, that's a good
Yes.
point.
That's what I'm saying, people need to know this is the city charter, not this township, not that, the city that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So the question, that first question can be, what is
The city.
of Big Rapids charter?
Yes, yes.
So there's
think that's what
no,
we need
there's
to-
no ambiguity.
We need to push that out, it's the
And
city.
then if they're not in the city, we take the bookmark back.
Yes, we absolutely do. Okay. Well, I was telling these guys about, like, some of the city events, like National Night Out, but there's a lot of people who come in from outside the city to go to National Night Out. Apropos what you're just saying here, we have to ask people first, do you live in the city? Or you can have one of our bookmarks. However, I am told that there's not gonna be a National Night Out this year.
I believe it's going to be called something different.
Okay, so I just went to the first meeting, and it's gonna be called the Good Neighbors Block Party. It's gonna be at Big Rapids Library.
Library,
And the Big Rapids Police Department is teaming up with the library. And we're, nothing's set in stone, but we're gonna bring nonprofits in and other organizations, just like the National Night Out. And, we're gonna do a little grand prize for people and, to make sure that they go to nonprofits and get the information. And, we're do like a little map thing, and if you get stamps on your little checklist thing, then you will be entered in to win a Yeti cooler, is what we're thinking right now. And then at the end of it, at 7 o'clock, we're gonna be doing, Mr. Rogers' documentary, Will You Be My Neighbor, Welcome to My Neighborhood. People, yeah,
You guys set on a date?
September 28th.
And what is it called again?
It's called, Good Neighbors Block Party. We haven't like come up with a name, like a final name,
Okay.
because our first meeting was today.
Thanks, Steve.
But it's gonna be on Saturday, September 28th, National Good Neighbors Day.
Hand out some bookmarks.
I think so. I'm thinking a little table or something. All right. Anything else as far as that's concerned?
I will get these done up the next day or two, and I email it to Tammy, and Tammy can send it out to all of us, and get your opinions really quick and get it back so we can get these things in order. We'll put a drop dead date on it. If we don't hear back from you, it means you don't care.
So you have 1 hour.
Wow, you are really generous.
7 minutes.
But is someone gonna come to my house and let me know?
No.
Email was sent
No.
within 3 hours?
No.
Can we put it in the charter, though?
No.
Someone needs to
I'm personally gonna drive to your house.
Damn it.
Somebody. Okay.
Can we put it in the charter just for Foster?
Yeah, just for Foster.
Foster.
Everybody has to knock on Foster's door at least every 15 minutes.
Okay, hang on.
You doing a picture soon?
Well, we were hoping Jennifer was gonna get here. Do you wanna?
Okay.
Yeah, she's not here yet, though. It might be a good time to do it.
Can we call and see if she's gonna make it? I know she's driving, but
Do we have her
Have
number?
her cell number.
I don't.
Better solve it.
Should be in
I
our,
don't know what number he gave
should be
me.
in our.
I was gonna say, is it in, it's in here.
Can I get a copy of the city logo, like a vector
Yeah.
picture?
Yeah, well, I can send you a transparent logo. And, do you have his email?
DR Photo,
Okay.
Big Rapids Festival of the Arts,
Yeah, Big Rapids Photo.
at Yahoo.
Why not?
Okay. I can send you, it's just a PNG transparent logo.
Okay.
Yes, I don't wanna keep you too long.
Getting paid overtime, you don't care.
Not yet.
Well, it's really the almost 5-year-old at home that's calling the shots.
Dan, did you ever get Frisbees from Ferris?
Frisbee?
From Ferris?
That might be why my name is in your phone book.
I didn't per se, but I probably would have contacted somebody due to a licensing request at some point, so that could happen.
No answer.
Answer. Okay.
We're gonna go ahead with our photo?
I think half an hour is a generous amount of time to wait,
I do too. I mean,
and we waited 40 minutes.
if we
If
can
I'm
get-
ever late, you can take a picture without me.
if we can get a photo at a later date, that, we can replace it, but
That's the other thing, should we just shoot for next meeting if she's not able to?
I mean,
Let's go ahead.
I think we can
I
just
think-
do
We
it
can
now.
always switch them out.
Maybe someday we'll get more members, and
Are
then
we
we'll
worried
definitely
she'll be
want to
sad
read
she's not in it? Because I would not be sad if I was
mean-
not in it.
he missed the last meeting, is that right?
She was out of
She's out of
town.
town.
And then this week, and I don't remember, was there a cap on the bylaws for how many weeks you could miss in a row?
There's 3 but on
She wasn't
excuse.
planning to.
Excuse. Yeah,
She doesn't, everybody's had excuse.
yeah.
No one's had any
I'm
unexcused.
just like, I'm worried that, like, there's not worried, but it would be unfortunate. There's a chance that she continues to not make it, and then it would be pointless
did.
to wait for her to take the photo
But you're
because
saying if it's excused, it's,
it's okay. It doesn't count
She
towards
did
it.
call, and she said she wanted to make it, and she could still, still show up.
Steve was suggesting that we maybe put some chairs up here and then have people stand, like 3 sitting, 3,
Yeah, if we have, I mean, we have 6 people right now, we can do 3 and 3, or like 3 chairs, 3 people standing, or 2 and 4, 2 people sitting.
Now we're gonna talk about
We're
this for 20
thinking up
minutes.
here.
Yeah.
Grabbing a
Versus
chair.
with the murals.
you've got some of us working already?
Mister,
Oh, by the logo.
just moving those two
taking
chairs out of the way of the logo.
Okay.
And I think I'll push the mics down.
Okay, yeah, that works.
They're flexi.
Yeah, just
But
move those 2 chairs, yeah.
Yeah, that gavel, you probably moved to, if they can see.
Does Jennifer want to hold the gavel?
You can put that on the, chair.
Be a sitter.
Sure, I can sit here.
I wanna be a hider. Oh, I like to hide in the back.
Front, right in the middle.
Anyone else want to sit?
You should be in the middle.
You should be in the
Should
middle.
be in the middle, okay.
Foster, you're gonna have to,
He's our boss.
I have spoken.
She has spoken.
I agree with Foster, there needs to be some kind of like logo, or not slogan, for the charter.
Something that's
Yeah, and like, yeah, something,
Sexy, is that what you're gonna say?
I don't know, sexy, but like you're shaping, I mean, you can be like shaping our future together, or some, you know, something like that, you know?
the charter is sexy. The charter is bringing
If you
sexy
put
back.
sexy on there, that
There we go.
You might wanna change
That's
it,
right.
Brian. Brian's too tall for the.
Oh, level out the height.
Brian, we probably gotta go sit.
What?
You're too tall back there, you can't see the logo.
This is better.
the aesthetics screwing. As
There we go, that,
long as it's fast, I don't care.
It's just the hair.
yeah, that looks
All right, I'm gonna take a couple photos.
Everyone say charter.
All right.
Charter.
1, 2, 3. All right, I'm gonna do one with, Flash.
I'm
Let's see
having like first day of school vibe.
One,
Big smile.
1, 2, 3.
nice picture.
Okay,
That was painless.
Thank you, Steve.
no problem.
Yeah, Brian, what were those? They were something that.
All right, yep, you got it.
I remember this.
Little alligator floaties that,
Part of art prize, I think.
no, it was, they made it for a YMCA, was doing a fundraiser for
Oh, you mean that wasn't all caught on YouTube? This is the funnest part. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Awesome input on that. Moving on to old business. We want to just kind of review a bunch of the changes that we've been talking about over the last forever. And some of this is just make sure we're all on the same page, clean up. Stace, are you able to get it up? Charter? Okay, that's the minutes. Excuse me. Okay, 3.3C, it was just a question of inserting the word years after the numeral. Statement, 3.3C. Okay, and you did that, no person shall speak. Okay, are there any other,
I would like to pick the scab off 3.3F and have it some way that people that own businesses or own property in the city that don't have it as a residence can serve on a board up to maybe 25%, max of a 25% of the board?
that is something that would need to be voted on by the public.
The whole charter does. But that's,
So that's one of those things we would need to get public input.
yeah, I'm just saying, is that one of the things we want to get? Because there's a lot of people around here that,
I think you can, once the board starts looking at this chart of those statutes. We have a chart made up. A lot of boards say you can, a lot of boards say you can't, according to state statute.
okay,
Once we start looking at those statutes and determining which one can, which ones can't, because, yeah, some of them you can, some of them you may not want to, but some say, no, you cannot.
okay.
And that is one of the big things that we tried to do in the past. And we brought in the old charter, and they were adamantly against it. So I think, personally, I think some boards you should be able to, like your maybe property maintenance, where you don't have merely the qualified people that live in town, they all live out of town, firefighters, plumbers, electricians, contractors, they seem to all live out of town. That may be one to look at, but then you've got to look at the statute to see if you're allowed to. That's the only thing that you might have a problem with. And I know me and Jennifer looked at that whole statute thing, and we're ready to, I think, to start handing it out and taking a look at that. But that, yeah, that is one thing that you guys might want to look at.
Yeah, one of the things we need to do, which I don't think the previous commission did, hello. Would be, yeah, come on over here.
Whatever.
No, she needs the materials. Was to make sure that we, when we solicit public input, we need to provide them a rationale. That, that would make sense. Whether they agree with it or not remains to be seen, but for any changes like this, there needs to be a rationale provided that allows them some context for why we're suggesting the change.
Okay.
Let's bear that in mind. 3.9 A, we're just starting into old business. 3.9 K. I think that was about the orientation of new officers, right? New elected people. That was the one about that, Mark Gifford gave us the language for that. I just wanted to make sure everyone was up to date with this. After every regular city election, the city manager or designee shall schedule an orientation. Session shall include a review of local government documents, including laws and regulations involving elected bodies. Is that where we ended that? Mm-hmm. We decided to strike the rest of that. Okay, everyone's clear on that. All right, moving on. Section 4.4, line 2. I had my notes was changed the number from 45 days to 90 days. 4.4, line 2. Okay. Okay. I have in the first paragraph at line 6, after general municipal election.
Four, right? The beginning of the sixth line is election.
Kind of move the if 3 or more vacancies,
Yep.
move that down to a third paragraph. Now, this is where, if I'm not mistaken, the city commission folks asked us to give them language directing them to develop a process for filling vacancies. So, I'm thinking it would.
Processes are not in the charter, that's something done. I mean, you can say a process should be, or shall be written or
We said
drafted.
that to Karen, yeah, and what we said is,
Yeah.
instead, we'll just tell them that they need to come up with the
Right,
process.
right.
So, refer to your self-established rules of procedure for the process.
Right.
And really, I just drafted something, but what it can say simply is the city commission shall develop a process.
Yeah.
What is directed to, shall develop a process for filling vacancies. Now, I leave the rest of this out because it occurred to me as I'm thinking about this, that these are terms that are subject to interpretation.
Okay.
And I think we might, I'm not sure legally, that we might not get into some deep water with some of that. Just saying.
Makes sense to me.
What did you want it to say?
I would just say simply, the city commission shall develop a process for filling vacancies left by resignations or just period. Short and simple. Okay.
Do we need to specify that they're gonna make that part of their rules of procedure?
What?
There may not be any such thing in going forward. Just, that's probably, they can do it however they want to, wherever they want to.
So I know at the beginning of the charter, there was a section where it said something had to be created. And we're changing that because now it's maintaining. So I don't know,
Yeah, I
so
remember
we're
too.
kind of
Yeah.
reintroducing that problem for the next group.
Yeah.
We are. That was the oath of office. That was ethics. The code of ethics is when
Yeah.
they said they needed to create one. You are. You absolutely are.
Well,
As
that
long
fixed
as
it.
we're okay with doing that.
Yeah.
The
Next
develop-
time, they'll need to take that out because it'll already be done.
But in the issue around that too was, I think the consensus was that they would put this process in in their rules of procedure.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to keep,
But every commission is gonna develop their own rules of procedure every year, so we're just saying they need to have a process. We're not saying what the process is supposed to look like, even though we know what it would like to look like. But we can't really mandate
It
that.
could be a city policy too. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily need to be in rules of procedure. I mean, it could be anything. We have all kinds of ways that we make
Mechanisms.
processes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so is everyone good with that?
So I added and maintain to what you had suggested, if everyone's okay with that.
Say that again?
So I added 2 words, so now it says, the city commission shall develop and maintain a process for filling vacancies.
Good.
You gonna highlight in that red then?
Is everyone okay with that? All right. And then paragraph 3 would start with 3 or more vacancies, et cetera, and then just go to the end of that, right? Okay. Section 4.9 is the wording provided to us by Mr. Fowler. I don't know if you've had a chance to look that over.
I definitely prefer the new language to the old language.
Yes, absolutely. Did you get a copy of the new language to drop in there? That's the old language that has all the things that are gonna make us legally liable for lawsuits all over the place.
What is the new language?
Okay, I will.
Is it big and wordy?
It's called, first of all, we're changing the title. From non-discrimination, the civil rights is okay, but the first part is unlawful discrimination. And civil rights.
You have it there, you could just have to.
Yeah. You wanna just read
We're
it?
gonna
Or-
type it, yeah.
Well, is it easier for you to read it, or you want me to read it for you?
I can just copy it. Okay. Since this was added, can I just remove it, or do we need to do the strike through?
I think you can get rid of it.
This was new to begin with, so you can just strike it out. This is a new section that we're adding.
suggesting that they would like to do this in place of me.
Don't forget the second part.
Obviously.
Those couple
Yeah.
lines below it,
In all its agencies.
city and all its agencies.
If it was me typing, you would see me go backspace, backspace, backspace. Oh,
I was marveling.
I'm always like,
at
back,
how
back, back.
few errors there were in her.
I would still be on that first line.
And you'd also see me probably put the apostrophe in its. Like default for me, it's like apostrophes always.
Tears.
I love it when I move my fingers over one,
Yeah.
I'm getting all kinds of
It's just
gobbledygook.
complete gobbledygook, yeah.
Because I like,
See, if you type like me, that wouldn't happen, because I gotta look at every damn key,
It's like a scavenger hunt every time.
every time.
Where is that G?
I can find the Q, that's the only thing.
I used to have a coworker that typed like that. We used to have to do long reports, and when I walked in his office, he'd be like this. I just thought, oh my gosh, it must take you forever.
okay, moving on, chapter 5, looking at 5.5A. That was, I believe, just the phrase in the January following, in the first city committee, blah, blah, blah. The first city commission meeting in January. Yeah, you don't need that. In January following the election.
No, it has to be in the.
January following the election.
Are you good with in January then? Great.
Okay, and that's the only one on that one. Now, 5.5C. Is there something in B that we needed to talk about? 5.5, 5.5.
Looks like we have all of 5.5C highlighted.
The question before us is, first of all, do we want to pursue this, yes or no? In terms of suggesting that we separate the terms of office for the commission and the mayor. There seems to be rather divided opinions about this across the board.
I agree with you. When we voted on it the first time, I didn't fully understand it, but I was on another board with Tom, and he explained it to me, and once he did, it made sense, because initially I was like, no. And then once he said why, the reasoning behind it, I was a little more, so I don't know that people did know the reasoning behind it.
They didn't.
But Fred had a point too, like, are people gonna get the reasoning behind it if we try to resubmit it? And
Well, I mean, when it was submitted the first time, it was submitted as a revision where people were voting on that specific issue. We present it to the people this time, if they don't actually read the charter, this issue is a non-issue for them.
well, we have to put it to vote, don't we?
The charter has to go to vote.
Well, what we need is public.
Charter.
Yeah, no, I know the whole charter does, but isn't there specific sections that the public, no.
No.
No, we need their-
None of it.
We want to get their input. The issue is that we want to get their input before we put it in the charter, because we don't want the charter to get shot down in November because somebody saw this and, they saw it.
Thing that they misunderstand.
Yeah.
Should it be on one of the
You know,
survey questions?
now here's the thing, yeah, this can be one of the survey questions. The other issue is, and if we don't want to tackle it this time, the commission can always, again, attempt an amendment to the charter. That's what we tried the last time, but we didn't contextualize it well enough, in my humble opinion. And in fact, we saw that comment in the survey that the previous commission had sent out, with people who said, I don't know enough about it, so I don't want to support it because I don't know enough about it. So we can either try and see what the public thinks about it now before we make a decision as to whether to include it or not, or we can leave it alone and let another commission try to put in an amendment if they want to do so.
I think that we should consider changing it based on the results of survey information that we gather. And I think that we should ask in the survey questions in such a way as to not say what it currently is or what we think it should be, right? Should I have it written down here? It's like, should a mayor's term be limited by their term served as a commissioner? It's a yes or no question.
That's not a good question. I wouldn't understand what that question is asking me.
I don't know that it's worded just right, but my point is that it doesn't say what the current system is, right? It's asking people how they think the system should be, and if we get indicators from our responses that say, yeah, these terms should be separated, then the answer is pretty clear to us, right? I don't think we should phrase it as, should we leave it the way it is, or should we do this, so much as, what do you think how
Well,
these terms should be set up?
the thing about that is, and I have no problem asking the public. You know, we will just, kind of determine our path depending on the feedback that we get, assuming that we get hopefully substantial feedback. I think people are gonna wanna know the numbers. They wanna know how many years are you talking about having someone serve as a commissioner or having someone serve as a mayor. The essential issue here is should those two things be disengaged? Because, the work of a commissioner is different from the work of the mayor.
That's where I feel like it keeps getting stuck, is in that language of a member of the city commission, because the mayor technically is. Is there a way to separate that language so that you're having this conversation around term limits as a commissioner and term limits as a mayor, still being limited, but independently of one another?
I've been thinking about this since our last meeting and how to phrase it, and it's counterintuitive to what the public is generally gonna think. And that's my hunch at least, and that makes wording the question a little bit more difficult because you have to presume that they don't understand, like Ann was saying, that the mayor is considered essentially a commissioner, right? And I don't think the average people assume that. It makes it harder, for sure. But I think that we need a whole series of questions on the survey. I think questions like, should there be a maximum number of consecutive years someone can serve on the commission? Should there be a maximum number of years someone can serve as a mayor? Right? These are two separate questions, and I think generally surveys work the best when you keep asking the same question in slightly different ways, or slightly different contexts, because what you end up finding is that when it's worded one way, people say no, and when it's worded other ways, they actually say yes, yes, yes.
I think you also have to ask how many then? How many do they think is too many?
Right.
That's what I was thinking, is you could really knock it out in two questions. One, should the one sort of encumber the other? And then two, what is the longest someone should serve as a city commissioner? What is the longest somebody should serve as mayor?
Yeah.
Consecutively.
Right. And I think also we could throw in there the question of, should there be a maximum number of years someone can serve, period?
Is consecutively maybe, but you can't limit somebody out of office via identity. Like you can't say, okay, you've served 2 terms, you went away, you came back, you can't serve any more terms. You're not able to do that.
That's not what I'm suggesting.
Oh, okay.
That's what we heard at the meeting, but that's.
I'm suggesting that you've served the maximum number of terms, 35 years in public service is enough. Like, I get it, we don't have that many people that want to step up as a commissioner. But if you've been a commissioner and you've been a mayor, and you've served 50 freaking years, I think it's worth asking the public, is there a maximum number of years someone should be able to serve as a commissioner?
Consecutively.
No,
No,
period.
Like, you're talking lifetime.
Yeah, lifetime.
That's a place I don't know.
Running somebody from running
Right, that's
for
what people
office,
just say.
you're not able to do that. It's not.
I mean, that's how Congress works. Yeah, like you're only allowed to serve so many terms in Congress, and then that's it. It's term limited.
Consecutive, not lifetime.
Not federally.
Yeah.
statewide, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Literally. That's why we have lifetime
Yeah.
Congress people.
Right.
Yeah, but at least we.
they go from the Senate to the House, and in one of them, I think that you can serve an indefinite number of terms, and in the other one, I don't know that you can, or something like
And
that.
federally, you can serve forever.
Federally, you can serve as long as you keep going.
That's why we have a gap in
That,
there.
yeah, that would be a huge civil rights issue because you're eliminating somebody's ability to run for public office on the basis of who they are.
I think that might be a bigger chunk than we wanna take on. That's my opinion.
I don't think the number of years someone served is like who they are or discrimination.
No, but what you're saying is you specifically are no longer able to run for office as opposed based on your terms of service, like at all, as opposed to just your term limited out.
I mean, like, I'm not saying that you couldn't run for mayor because you served as commissioner for so long, but like, maybe there's like, you've been a commissioner for 24 years, you can't serve on the commission anymore. Either go on to become the mayor, or go to the Parks Board, or the Planning Commission, or something else. Like, I'm throwing it out there that if we're separating the mayor from, we're giving that a fair shake, that the mayor could be separate from the commission, and you're allowed to serve like 12 consecutive years as one and 12 consecutive years as the other, and you've been serving for 24 years straight, that maybe we should say you can't serve another 30 years as a commissioner. That makes sense to me. That's all I'm saying.
I just think we need to consult the city
I think
attorney. I don't.
Really, that, when it comes down to it, that's the voters' decision. You know, how often, what if they're okay to return someone to office for however many years, if they get a majority of votes, then that's the process. I don't think the likelihood of that is very great.
But that's why
Especially not
we
in
have
this-
that gap in there. That's why we have that split in there. You have to be off the commission for so many years.
Yeah.
Then you can go back. That's what that split's for. Then they get into their own life and maybe they don't wanna come back. It's not continuous like state and federal. No, we have a split, says that's it. 2 years, you can't be on there. You can't run, you can't do anything. So now, when someone else comes in, they're elected, they're in there for 4 more years. They don't have, you've got other people coming in, they're serving 4 years. It's kinda hard to get in there to get that seat because there's somebody there. But every 2 years, there'll be a seat open. Do they wanna run for it or don't they? Maybe, maybe not.
I get the logic. I'm saying I think we should ask the public in the survey whether or not that this is the logic that they agree with, right? I think that that's one system, and another system is just saying, look, you can't serve more than 24 years as a city commissioner. Like, that would be 2 consecutive 12-year terms, which would be a really long time, and I really don't think that people are generally gonna do that, but it prevents someone from being kicked off the commission because they've served 12 terms when there's not a candidate to step up and take their place, right?
You just
Like,
need to make sure you can do that legally.
Yeah, that would be my thing. You don't want to get something out there for people to referendum if it's not something that you can legally.
The people may agree with you, but that doesn't mean it's lawful.
I totally get that.
I mean, I would,
Could ask the city attorney along with other items that we need to ask.
Are you gonna write that down? Are you gonna write some notes down to ask Brad, or do you want me to?
no, I will do it.
Okay.
Okay, so let me go back to the basic question here. Are we agreed that we can at least check, the pulse of the public through the survey? Then we will go ahead and do that, and let me ask, everyone to, if you, think about this, and, in terms of the public that we know we serve, and what do you think? I don't want to take a whole lot more time this evening, but think about this in terms of what kinds of questions we could be asked. Let's get a list going.
Did people not, right? We were supposed to do that for this meeting. Did people not?
I did not.
I'm just curious if there are other questions that people generated other than I did.
No. Do you have them in writing?
Right here. They're not like super, like, this is every question ever, but like,
No,
I've been
no,
thinking
that's
about
good.
them.
I have an idea for a rewrite on one of yours that you were unsure of the wording though. I think length of term of mayor should be limited by time served in other city positions. It's a simple yes or no question. But it still asks whether or not they should be related.
Expand on that. What do you mean by other city positions?
Other city positions in general, should that be limited by them being in other city positions, or should they still be allowed to serve as mayor? Same length of term.
What's your example
If
of
they're
another
on Parks
city
and Rec,
position?
you mean, or?
Right.
or-
Other city boards?
Other city boards or commissioner or whatever. Right. Any other city position.
So like serving on this board could limit our term as mayor.
Now, you wanna be very
just wanna
careful
know if-
not to separate out, because those, the city commission is an elected office, and mayor is an elected office. The boards are all volunteer.
Change it to elected
And
positions.
the idea, ideally, what you wanna do is get people into the pipeline of city government by having them serve on city boards that are volunteer, and get them with their feet wet in some aspect of city government, and then hopefully they will stand for election. But you
So
don't
what
want
if
to, you don't
change
want
the
to
end of
have
it?
that time, you don't want that time on the clock to curtail the amount of time they can spend as an elected person.
Right, and I'm just asking, it's an opinion. What if we change the end where in other city positions to just as city commissioners? Should the length of term of mayor be limited by the time served as city commissioner?
That's a possible one.
I think we could also, and like I said, I think that surveys tend to get more accurate results when you kind of ask the same question more than once. We might ask, should the mayor be considered, even though legally in the charter, the mayor might be considered a commissioner. If we ask the question, should the mayor be considered a commissioner, and everyone's like, no, well, then that would be a little bit of an indication that people wouldn't think that you should be term limited as mayor after serving previous consecutive terms as a commissioner.
The mayor is considered a
how we have
commissioner
it now.
because of the council manager form of government, as opposed to a strong mayor.
Yeah, see, I'm not asking whether the mayor should be a strong mayor or not. I'm just asking, like, whether they think that the mayor is in ways that are important, a commissioner relative to the consecutive years served.
Because on the ballot, when people vote, they're voting for a mayor. They're not listed in the city commissioner options. So people think that the mayor is separate from the city commission because they're voting in different places.
I like that question.
Not.
Right.
Is it possible for the mayor to have, or for that to be clarified in some way that it's like an ex officio?
Kind of
The mayor is the chair
like think about
of the
this.
city commission, but the mayor's duties are different from
Yeah.
commissioners, except for the fact that, he or she has a vote. It's 1 out of the 5 votes. It doesn't carry any extra weight.
The city commission circle is completely inside of the mayor's circle, but the mayor's circle is bigger, right?
Everything there's commission does, everything the commission does, the mayor does, but the mayor does
more.
things that the commission doesn't do.
No?
Yeah, he'll go to meetings where commissioners won't.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, he signs, he or she signs contracts, and, the mayor is the face of the city, and all that kind of stuff.
And he does everything the commissioners do. There's nothing he's excluded from that the commissioners do.
No, not true. I know.
Mayor gets paid more, right?
11 cents or something.
I mean, it's not a lot, but it's like,
Voluminous, yeah, let me tell
I think he gets one extra coffee cup.
you.
I mean, that would imply that they do more.
Yeah, but that brings up an interesting issue, which of course, being mindful of the fact that it's not a volunteer position because it is paid. Both of them, commission and mayor, are paid. But it is interesting that different individuals will look at it as part-time as opposed to a full-time kind of thing, and that kind of shades their interpretation of their function as either of those positions, but that's getting into a whole nother, whole other conversation.
We're not putting that on the survey.
No, we are not putting that on the survey. Okay. Why not? Well,
I'm sitting by you next time.
So you can kick
do
me.
me a favor, can you, put your questions that you came up with, your
Yeah.
survey questions in writing. Let's get them collated into a list. You want to send them to me, I will do that. You got some great ideas here. I want to make sure we get them all out on paper and that we can look at them
Yeah, I mean,
quickly.
and you're the one that's gonna be working on this. It'd be awesome if, whatever you get done on the survey for the next meeting, we got like the draft link in the packet email that we get beforehand, and so we could all, as homework, kind of go through the survey
And I think that we discussed, isn't it, Jeff?
awesome.
Send them to me, or you want to just send them directly to you? No. Send them to me and I'll share them with
Would
you.
you prefer I send it as an email versus handing in a piece of paper?
I'm happy, if you want to hand it over to me, I can do that, that's no problem.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I kind of recycled the previous agenda.
Great, thank you. And anybody else? Jennifer, anybody who, if you got questions that you came up with or you think of some?
I kept trying to think of like, are there questions that we want to ask the public that pertain to things other than the mayor and how long they serve and the commission? I was like, I don't know that there's anything that we've ran into that's contentious or like of interest enough, but I'm curious if anybody else.
What Brian's question was, boards and, the boards and commissions, now that is the excellent survey that you
think
wanna
that's a
get
good
the
question.
public to know. Should non-residents be on city boards?
Where statute.
Statute relate,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm so for it. I didn't even
that is
consider it.
a good question.
I mean, do you think that people would be opposed to non-residents?
Some
Some
are.
people may.
Some aren't?
Some are and some aren't.
It's a good survey question.
Yeah.
It really is.
There was something else that you brought up in our meeting and I
For the survey?
Flash the
In our
brilliance.
outreach meeting, you brought up something else that I think may have been new business that we need to take to.
As far as surveying,
Yeah, hold on, I got notes somewhere.
We didn't talk about the city commissioner resigning their seat.
we haven't gotten there yet. Did everyone get the pros and cons?
Yeah.
There was something about, so I remember things about evaluations.
Yeah, are you talking about,
City manager?
city manager evaluation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
We
we're
kind
gonna, I need to push in there.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, in terms of the purpose of the charter, and I need to think about that some more. In terms of the legalities,
That's what I was,
various issues that are coming up around that.
We believe it's in his contract.
To get an annual
that's
review.
what I was gonna say is can it supersede?
It's kind of in the same vein with, you can't really tell the city commission what process to use for
Right.
appointments.
That's kind of what I was thinking after you said
Yeah,
that.
so we're gonna scrap that one for right now. Okay, we're moving on to the survey. Yeah, the issue that was raised in the meeting about the design to run people.
I think that's another survey question.
Could be.
Like, I mean, I have my own thoughts on it, but I don't have any sense of like the public's opinion. I don't know that the public has an opinion.
I don't know that the public has anything.
I don't even know what my opinion is. Actually.
I think maybe, you know, get the survey out, push it out, and then come back and say, okay, they didn't have
Yeah.
we need to focus on this one, because we don't really have any input, but we have input on this, we know what they want. I mean, instead of, you know, spending a lot of time, you know, discussing it, just push it out there, see what you get, and then,
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Then discuss it.
Let's put it to the survey and see if we get a response. And if we don't, then
then you have to deal with it.
then we have to figure it out on our own. I think the big thing is making you guys run an extra election. I'm like, if you take that off the table, I'm kind of like, I think I'm fine with people not resigning.
We wouldn't run an extra election. That's what everybody thinks, we can just run elections whenever we feel like it.
Number one,
Yeah, I mean, I'm,
What will we do? We have elections every year.
yeah,
On the odd number of years, we have a school election and we have a city election. Depending on where that falls as to where the election that would be. So there's no any extra elections for us. It would just be one other item for the scheduled election.
let me rephrase it. It would be more work for you if we let people keep their seat and did not make them resign. If they won the election and then had to resign the other seat because they won, you'd still have to put an extra person.
You'd have to appoint. Now, that's a whole nother thing. That's more, that's where you got the 90 days to appoint. If you don't make a decision in 90 days, you go to that election.
I'm just saying, it's more work for everyone
Yeah.
if you let people run without resigning.
Yes. It is.
That's the
It
biggest
absolutely is.
issue to me.
Yeah. It's more clear cut the other way, then you would have
Yeah.
everybody on the ballot.
Yeah.
And you know who's gonna fill the seat, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about appointing. You're absolutely right, Foster.
You know, I'm like, because otherwise, like we've said it, that there aren't that many people that are stepping up to run for positions.
Well, that's why I think be
I
able
was
to
just gonna
keep
say,
your
yeah,
spot while you
because if,
run, because it's not
exactly.
like we have people knocking down the door to
That's
get on the
exactly.
ballot to run.
It's in an area where it's not super competitive like this, you need all the people you can get. Why would you let loose somebody who's willing to serve? Look at all the good that Jen created in the time that she was, you know, a commissioner.
I agree.
There's definite pros and cons to both of that.
Is that a topic that we want to do on?
There's definite pros and cons to
Oh,
both.
yes, there are definite pros and cons.
Now, later.
I mean, we can ask survey questions.
And then come back and revisit it.
To do it, do we really want to allocate time for this, or is that an issue for the future
survey.
commission and like maybe focus on just that topic?
There again, you know, that's also an issue that a future commission can submit an amendment to the charter for, if it comes to that. Okay. Okay, I think that was most of our business. Am I missing anything? So next meeting, are we at chapter 6?
We can go through that.
Well, I think that was all that was hanging out. Did I miss anything?
I kept looking.
Anything in chapter 6?
Six point two, revisit to ensure all have the proper wording. The only thing in 6 that I'm seeing. I don't know that we got there. I don't know that we did.
About the special meeting?
I did, something that in accordance with the open meetings act.
Yeah, remember, okay, could you go down and see what that 6.2 is all about? Okay, special meeting, okay. Yeah, the written notice stating the time, purpose, location, yeah, that's all. Yeah, remember when Brad had said something when we put in there per course the Open Meetings Act, that there's a lot of stuff that's not in there, that, like saying agenda needs to go out by email, doesn't say that in the Open Meeting Act. We don't have to do it, well, we really have to get a packet out somehow. So I think he said putting that in there was not the wording.
Yeah, I've got something along the lines of review for personal notification and
Right.
not Open Meetings Act, because if you just reference Open Meetings Act,
Then
then it's
there's
going
lots
to
of
be.
you don't have to do, when you should be doing it. So I think that's, yeah, that was both.
Language, lines 4, 5, and 6, what I had in my notes was, to simplify that, just simply to say, each member of the city commission shall be personally notified of the time, purpose, and location of a special meeting at least 18 hours in advance. Did I make that up?
No,
All by
it sounded like you did not make it up.
Did I make it up all by myself?
You dreamt it.
I don't know, I'm kind of weird.
I do that, I need to.
Scary.
So what am I entering?
Let's go down to 6.2. Scroll down, it's lines 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so rather than written notice, let's like take that out. Just X all of that out. Yep, and then, okay,
The rest of.
and take out in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, because that's what we were advised to do, right? Then, okay, prior, that, move that if 4 members are present, move that down. Start with if, yeah, okay, so then the statement would be, in lieu of all that stuff we just struck out. Okay. You ready to write? Yeah. Okay. Each member of the city commission shall be personally notified of the time, purpose, and location of a special meeting at least 18 hours in advance.
Did you put date in there too? Time, date.
Oh, date, time, and purpose?
Yeah.
Is that right? Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, so while we're on 6.2, it's kind of really minor, but the if that you separated on the other column says, if 4 members are present, the city commission may conduct at a special meeting held inside the city any business that may come before a regular meeting of the city commission. Like, would that make more sense if it said, if 4 members are present at a special meeting of the city commission held inside the city, the commission may conduct any business that may come before a regular meeting of the
Just
city?
moving that clause that says at a special meeting ahead of,
Yeah, I'm like,
that does make it a little easier to read. I don't know if there's a meaning
I
distinction.
don't understand why it's worded like
Yeah.
it was trying to back into a parking spot on a
I
mule.
would say if 4
Right.
members are, 4 members are present at a special meeting, the city commission may
It has to be held inside the city. You have to keep that.
special meeting held inside the
Because
city.
they can hold
The
special
commission
meetings
may
outside the
conduct-
city.
There's a few we can, yes. but
Yeah.
When it's outside the city, they're not allowed to make any decisions.
I know.
So,
That's,
that's a
I
difference.
understand that has to be kept in there, but
So keeping those two together, if 4 members are present, the city commission may at a special meeting held inside the city conduct any business that may come before a regular. Yeah, it's just confusing.
however it could get reworded would be great. Like,
This one?
This, the former president, a special meeting held inside the city, the commission may conduct.
yes, that's what I was suggesting. It just seemed like it kind of
Yeah.
streamlined it and made it a little bit more intuitive.
Yeah. Okay. this isn't what Commissioner Simmons was asking the question about, with 4 members at a special meeting, is it?
I think so. I don't think a lot of them understood why 4 members, and just in case a budget came up, an ordinance came up, you have to have
That
4
requires
members
a
to
fourth
vote
one.
on that.
But I don't know that we need to
Yeah,
do these things.
I think it's good.
Otherwise, you can't conduct any business. You're limited.
You can discuss, but you can't.
You can't vote on the budget, you can't vote on an ordinance unless you have 4 members.
All right, was there anything else in chapter 6?
That would be in for me.
Anyone else have anything for chapter 6? Okay, we've already actually done the new business along with the old business, so that's good. And okay, I think that gets us through our agenda for the evening. So for our next meeting on September 11th, we want to have collated these questions for possible surveys. Yeah, we're gonna-
Actually, we need them, I need those sooner.
You
If
need
I'm
those
going
sooner.
to have those ready by the next meeting. So what Foster was asking for is prior to the next meeting, can I set out a draft survey? So I can do that, but I'm gonna need those questions within like a week or so.
So within a week from today, any questions that you want to offer for consideration for the surveys, send them to me. Y'all got my email.
It's on the thing here, right?
It is. It's Jennifer_Cochran at Yahoo.
Oh, I remember.
I love to say that, Yahoo. And I will make sure that Ann gets them, and we will get that going so that she can mock up a draft survey for us to examine on the 11th, and then hopefully we'll get that finalized, and then we can get it to a printer.
Say if you get them sent to you by August 21st, I get them on the 22nd. A week is probably enough for me to do that. So let's say by September 2, I'll have something out, and that'll be in advance of the next meeting.
I think that'll be.
August 21st for the questions.
And then look for a draft from me by September 2 to send out to everybody.
Review the bookmark, final bookmark too. Then you can send it to the printers.
Oh, you're gonna email it, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna email them out. You'll have something in your email by Sunday at the latest. So look
Thanks
at
for
it,
doing
make your
that.
changes, send them back, and then we're gonna
Yeah,
This.
this.
survey on that.
We talked about it earlier.
Yep, I see some spelling errors, but other than that, it sounds good.
Yeah, we talked about like trying to like trim text a bit and maybe making some bigger.
Also, we're going to try moving forward chapters 7 and 8
Streamlining it.
next time.
When do you want me to?
It's not official yet. It's just a placeholder. Yeah.
Tammy asked me about, we were talking about this, we have this big Excel spreadsheet chart of all of the various boards. Only a handful of them are actually charter boards that are in the charter. But we wanted to take a look at all of the boards. I know questions had come up about consistency across this and that and the other thing, and of course what we found was, you know, we are bound by certain state statute limitations for some of them.
So you can't be consistent.
So I think the question was, did you want the wordsmithing committee
Right,
to
that's right.
take the first
There's a
pass
lot.
at it before we bring it to the whole group? It's a lot of detail.
I would like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of detail.
Before we,
Going on.
before we say, hey, this is etched in stone, because it's a lot of work. We spent a lot of time on
I
it.
think I looked at that spreadsheet that was sent out at some point and I was like,
It was, well, we went over the
took
whole
us-
thing again.
I mean, we had to, we.
it's like you're scrolling all the way to the left and you're like, well, wait, what? You scroll all the way back to.
A lot.
I had to really go digging down to find the actual act that governs the library board.
Oh, yeah. Before
But I
you
found
say you can do this, and you can have non-city boards on this, you really have got to be correct. So I'd really like it to go to the wordsmithing before we,
Yeah, so, you know, I think we can
I mean,
do
we did it, but still, I'd like another.
wordsmithing group.
Okay, so who are they, so I
think
can
it's the
give
same
them,
word,
I'll
the
need to
same-
give them the spreadsheet plus all of those statutes
Yeah.
that we looked at. You need to go through every single one of them.
And
Me.
Brian, it's the same people as the public
Okay,
outreach.
so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna.
Anyone want to get involved in this?
With the easier.
I don't wordsmith well.
I have the email, I'm telling you, really. So, whenever you guys wanna pick it up,
Thank you.
yeah, I'll just email you when the packet's ready, cause it's just a lot easier to look at it on paper, I'll tell you.
But, yeah, I already have copies of a lot of the statutes and the statute language. And of course, legalese, like every other profession, it's gobbledygooky for a reason. It's called gatekeeping. It assigns
keeps me out.
who's a member of the club and who's not a member of the club. So we have to kind of work our way through that gobbledygooky stuff. Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Thank you all very much. Good work. And we're moving forward here.
It won't be until next week.
What spellings did you see?
Oh, just in the email and the website.
Just the email.
Just that stuff. That's all I saw.
Oh, City of FR, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay over there?
Yeah, and city or BR.
Okay.
You made it.
You made it.
Major.